What's up, movie nerds? Welcome back to the Movie Nerd James YouTube channel. We are back for another podcast episode. This time, we are doing the podcast episode for the summer movie season. And I cannot do this alone. I am joined by my uncle returning to the podcast, Chad Eversole, all the way from Florida. Say hello.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
We wanted to put this together. I know the movie summer season is coming up. I'm really excited about this movie year just in general, but also the summer movies as well. And that's what we want to do this podcast episode for, was to basically, of course, talk about films that we're excited about, but also put films in your radar to keep a lookout for this upcoming summer movie season. We're going to be covering, which is the unofficial months of May, June, July, and August, which is labeled as the summer movies. Basically, these are the months that the big studios pick to release their big labeled IPs and all that stuff. And of course, you have people home from vacation and on summer break, things like that, so you have more people to go out to the movie theater. So that's where these land. And yeah, I'm really excited about this. But so what we're gonna do, once again, like I said before, we're just gonna put things that's on your radar, put films on your radar you may have not heard of, or maybe it's films that you have heard of, and we're just gonna talk a little bit about those. Now, we called this, before we started recording, we called this our like focus movies or something. That's like, personally to us too, we talked before we started recording that movies that we are excited most about. I am going to list all the movies that's releasing in the months and the weeks and all that stuff for this summer season, but and then there'll be films that we come across that we actually focus a little bit on. But yeah, so don't think it's disrespectful, we're just skipping over that film. It's like, well, crap, man, I'm really excited about that movie, and then we skipped over it or something like that. So just know it's just personal ones that we're focusing on that we're really excited about. But we're going to give you all the movies releasing this summer. So with all that boring stuff out of the way, are you ready to rock, Chad?
I am. Let's do it.
All right, so let's start with May. All right, so coming in at May 1st is going to be Another Simple Favor. I know that's one maybe a lot of people's looking forward to, even though Blake Lively has a bunch of off-screen drama and stuff right now. But I know what was the first one called? Was it called A Simple Favor?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
So and it looks like a Prime Video, so I don't know if this is getting a theatrical release or not. But yeah, so that'd be Another Simple Favor. We have Shadow Force, which I don't know much about. So let me say here. Oh, that's what it is. It's like a family, Omar Sy and Kerry Washington. It's an action thriller that's coming out as well. That'll be on May 2nd. And then this is one of the films that we wanted to focus on a little bit about is Thunderbolts. This is the new film from Marvel. I'll take it away first, Chad. I was like, I'm really excited about Thunderbolts. This was a film that I wasn't excited really about at all when I heard it got announced. Even though I do love like Florence Pugh and all that stuff, but I seen the lineup for the cast and I was like, this actually looks pretty sweet. And then it went to a Comic-Con and then they showed the first trailer for it, and come to find out it was one of the creators. Let me look up his name while continue to talk about it, but it was the guy that was the showrunner and did the writing for Beef on Netflix, and Drake Schreier, that's the guy's name. But yeah, he's I was really excited to hear that he was attached to it as well. And then they released a trailer, and this is one of those films I was not excited about at all, even though I do love these characters and I do enjoy the Marvel films and stuff like that. But it wasn't really, it kind of felt like a cheap knockoff, like a Suicide Squad for the Marvel. But once they released the trailers and all that stuff, it kind of just completely did a 360 with me, because I'm really excited to check this out. So what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, when the announcement first came out about Thunderbolts, I didn't initially say like, yeah, that's going to be something that I definitely want to see in the theater. But after seeing a couple of the trailers, and like you just said, there's nothing wrong with the cast of characters one bit. We've got Florence Pugh, of course, and Sebastian Stan and David Harbour. Like a lot of great folks coming back, but. It took a couple of trailers for me to see it and just say, yeah, okay, now I see what they're doing. And I was worried about the same thing, that this ensemble casting that's been going on a lot lately, was kind of saturating the market a little bit with these movies, and the Thunderbolts looks like it'll be fun. And obviously, you know, we've seen that they're introducing a century into, you know, the universe, and, you know, for folks that are fans of the comics and knows what that means, you know, that's pretty interesting, pretty big deal. So you know, it looks like it's going to be fun. So yeah, May 2nd, hopefully we'll get a chance to check it out.
Yeah, I think the last trailer, because like I said, I'm already sold to watch the movie, so I really didn't have to watch any more trailers. But the last one I did watch was the something I wish studios would do more, because I thought it was so cool. They gave like shout outs to like the production designers, and then the guy, the cinematographer from The Green Knight, and production designer from Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then sound design by, you know, blah blah blah. It was one of the coolest things ever. I was just like, I really like those extra shout outs to the, you know, I don't want to say smaller people, but not so in the spotlight people, to get their shout outs. I love that.
Absolutely, and it's one, and I think it's like the evolution of movies and movie goers right now, because, you know, first of all, that information is so readily available. Unlike, you know, me growing up, and even you growing up, that, you know, you really had to dig hard to find, you know, who did this stuff, especially before the movies came out. And now that you know, you have access to all that information all the time, and it's not just an actor and a director that makes a movie anymore. You know, it's great to see cinematographers and sound design, sound engineers, you know, people that make these movies really work as well, you know, getting their kudos for that. So it was a very cool thing for Marvel to do, and hopefully more folks end up doing something similar to kind of get those names out as well, because it's equally as important, you know. I mean, at least for folks like us who really enjoy more than just the surface of a movie, you know, you like to find out more about who's making it and how they're getting it done. So it was great to see.
Yeah. All right. So moving on from Thunderbolts, going in, continuing the list of movies that are releasing for the May 2nd, we have Bonjour Treatise. I'm going to imagine that as a foreign film. We have Pavement. Rosario looks like a horror film. And then we have Rust, which I wasn't going to focus on, but that is the one with the drama behind the scenes of the cinematographer being killed by the accident on set, Alec Baldwin, all that stuff. But I know a lot of people are trying to boycott this for personal reasons. I don't know, because in the end, I wasn't there. It sounded like a terrible accident, but all the proceeds of the film is actually going to the cinematographer's family. So I hope people go out and support it, because you know, supporting her family and stuff like that. So you have Salvable, which looks like what is it? Shia LaBeouf. It looks like a boxing movie. You have The Surfer with Nicolas Cage. Words of War coming out. And then we go to May 9th, which is Clown in the Cornfield. We have Flight or Flight with I'm drawing a blank on the dudes. Josh Hartnett. Looks like an action film that takes place on a plane and stuff. Very cool concept. We have Juliet and Romeo. We have Caught by Tides. We have Lily. Watch the Skies. And then on May 13th, I always want to put this on people's radar, because that's one of my exciting weeks and stuff, is the Cannes Film Festival that starts on May 13th and goes all the way up to May 24th. So that's very exciting, because a lot of films that could be Best Picture contenders, things like that, or performances, it could be in there as well. Same thing with like the Venice Film Festival, all this stuff. So I just love those international film festivals. Which I was bummed though. I live in Indiana, and Ohio lost out in the bidding to get the Cannes Film Festival next year. So I was like, I was so sad. I was just like, that would have been so cool. Cool little bucket list.
That would have been very cool.
And then just a little bit of focus. We're going into the May 16th, and we're at Final Destination Bloodlines. I like the Final Destination movies and stuff like that, but I know a lot of people who love them. So it's been, I probably should have looked that up before we started recording, but I don't know how many years it's been since the last Final Destination film had come out. So it's really cool to see it back. I know I haven't been watching any trailers or anything like that because I kind of want to go in blind. But I did get slapped with a trailer when I went and seen. What did I go see? Oh, the Black Bag. I went and seen that recently, and the looks like a tattoo parlor, and the guy's got a nose piercing, and the chain gets hooked on it, and it gets hooked into the ceiling fan, and the floor catches on fire. It's just like chaos. So just death coming for people. So it looked pretty cool. Do you have any thoughts on the Final Destination, or move on?
Yeah. I mean, growing up, in the 90s, when Final Destination, the first one came out, like right at the end of the 90s, so it was like 99, 2000 when that came out, and you still see memes about it today, see the log truck, and everyone, talks about Final Destination. If you've watched the Final Destination series, you understand that it just chaos, these, I like to say like these Rube Goldbergian kind of, accidents that happen where it's cause and effect. This happens, it causes this to happen, and chaos. But I always enjoyed kind of the comedy portion of the Final Destination movies. And the kills were always a good time. But I thought that with the last one, they really wrapped it up pretty nicely. As a finale. So I was super surprised to hear that they were doing this Bloodlines storyline, but I did watch the trailer for it a couple times, getting ready to do the podcast, and it looks like a fun time. I don't know that it's Final Destination worthy, as far as a franchise goes, but we'll see what the hubbub is when it hits the theaters and we start seeing reviews for it. But it'll be a fun time, but maybe it's time to hang up that Final Destination moniker and, start with something fresh, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it makes me wonder, too, with the title Bloodlines. I wonder if it's like one of the kids from one of the other movies that it goes on to, just follows a family bloodline. So
if not that, then I noticed that in looking at the casting that there's a character called Iris and another character called Old Iris. So I'm going to guess that the Iris character ends up, later in life just recounting the tale of this stuff happening, and she's probably someone marked, by the Final Destination curse, and it passes along to her family or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. You can't tell much from the trailer other than it's a horror movie, a comedy horror movie, but a horror movie nonetheless. So I think that's probably, kind of where we're at with it. I could see that.
Yeah, and then this will be the, most importantly, this will be the final, I don't know if it's its actual final film, but it also, his final film in the franchise is Tony Todd, that passed away from cancer and stuff like that. So so this will, and a lot of people know him from Candyman. So
absolutely.
So, yeah, this will be his final film in the Final Destination franchise. But, all right, so the next film on the May 16th week, we have Hurry Up Tomorrow. I'm not going to focus too much on this, even though I am very curious about this because it stars The Weeknd, which I'm not really a big fan of his acting, but it has Barry Keoghan and Jenna Ortega. It's called Hurry Up Tomorrow, but it's directed by Trey Edward Schultz, and I really liked It Comes at Night and Waves. Especially Waves. It's a fantastic film. So, very odd trailer. So, we'll see what it brings and stuff like that. But definitely, Barry Keoghan and Jenna Ortega are obviously the future. So, it's really cool to see them in a film together. But moving on to that May 16th weekend, we have Jane Austen's Wrecked My Life. And then the next film we have is Love, Dream, Sex. And then the next film we have is The Magic Farm. And then we have The Ruse. And then we have Sister Midnight. And then going on to May 23rd weekend, we have one we wanted to talk a little bit about is the Lilo and Stitch live action film. And I'll take this away, Chad. I was like, I know a lot of people, it's very exhausting, and I'm right there with you. I am, with these live action remakes and things like that. I'm totally right there with you. I think really the only live action Disney thing I've really enjoyed is the Jungle Book that Jon Favreau did.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one, but pretty much it's just I've had the same reaction at the end of like Beauty and the Beast and Lion King and what was the other one that Snow White. It's just it's I get to the end of the film like, did this really have to be made? And I get it for business reasons. You got to make some dough. It's a recognizable IP. I get that and all that stuff, but just some of these just I'll say 70% of them just feel kind of lifeless at some point in the film.
Yeah.
And I go back to saying like a filmmaker's work, and then you have a filmmaker's movie, or you have a studio film, and they just feel like studio films to me. But we have Lilo and Stitch, and I'm not gonna lie, I really like what I was seeing from this. I've seen some behind the scenes that they used like a practical effect doll up close and things like that. It does look like a very heavy CGI, obviously, in the trailer, but I think the design of Stitch looks fantastic. I think I'm getting even though this isn't Disney, I'm getting the same vibes to a film that we'll talk about here in a little bit as How to Train Your Dragon. Is they took Toothless and literally just did the same exact design, and that's what you need to do. And I think the same thing they should have did with Lion King and Snow White, things like that. I just take those designs and just make them in they'll be CGI or maybe you motion capture or something like that, but it's just one for one of what they look like in the actual show. That's the reason why I think I was very disappointed with Beauty and the Beast. I really didn't like the Beast design.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then the Lion King, it's supposed to be kind of like kiddish and cartoonish, obviously, because we're so used to the original one, but having like live action animals, and don't get me wrong, they looked flawless for live action animals, CGI wise, but it was just, you can't really connect with it, I guess, if that makes it. Do what you will with that. But yeah, so Lilo and Stitch, I think Stitch looks awesome. I really like the girl that got casted. They have a Hawaiian Samoan cast or whatever. I love that. I think some of the shots you see from the original movie, and I really like the trailer that they released too, because it gave you a tease, but also we know why everybody's here. We're here to see Stitch mess stuff up, and that's what we're excited about. But your thoughts on Lilo and Stitch?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think that the creators of Sonic, I think they learned their lesson when they tried to go in and change Sonic into some new design and got all that backlash, whether it was publicity reasons or not. We still don't know that part of it, but the Stitch looked phenomenal, and it's Chris Sanders is voicing Stitch again, just like he's always done. It's his property. He's one of the people that created Lilo and Stitch originally, and he did all of the animated voice work for it. So he's going to, bring everything, that he has with him, to this character, for this live action adaptation. And man, the trailers, man, they did blow you away. I mean, I've been seeing CGI since, Jurassic Park, and, it's gotten better and then worse and then better and worse. But right now we're in an era where, these live action adaptations can even happen because they are so good. You mentioned How to Train Your Dragon, and the live action version of that it just looks unbelievable. And I'm super excited to see Lilo and Stitch on the big screen. And I know my daughter, she is wanting to see it and is excited for it as well. But the cast is fantastic, and you're right, bringing in, like a Samoan or, Hawaiian cast to do it, and not a bunch of like named folks, which is nice. We got a few big names, but for the most part, these are going to be folks you haven't really seen before. And what I've seen from the trailers, man, they're killing it. It looks really good. And to your point, just once again, and we'll probably talk about that for How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah, if you're doing a shot-for-shot remake of these from the animated to the live action, it's like, do they really need to happen? And I think this year is going to be a kind of a bellwether year for that very conversation, because either Lilo and Stitch is going to kill it and make a bunch of money, or it's not. Either How to Train Your Dragon is going to kill it and make a bunch of money, or it's not. And if it does, either one of them, we're going to see sequels, etc. But that's the question. beloved classics turned into live action. I'm not even going to mention Snow White because they didn't do that. They kind of did their own thing, but I guess we'll see. But Lilo and Stitch coming out in May this year. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be good.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. It could end up growing legs, like the Little Mermaid did as well. But it's just like the same thing with Snow White. It kind of feels like, and I call it the normies, and you have like families that go out to see these films. Is given the reception critically, and then also from a financial thing, it's like a lot of people didn't show up to see Snow White, especially in the high budgets it was. So, is that a sign? Was it a property that just people weren't interested taking their families out to, or families like not many daughters were like, I want to go see Snow White? I know my daughter and my wife, they ended up going to see Snow White, but it didn't look like a lot of families went out for it. Or is it a sign that people are just kind of exhausted with this? So we'll find out with these other live action adaptations. Now moving on from Lilo and Stitch, the live action, we go into a movie that we are very excited because both Chad and I, we are very big fans of this franchise, and a franchise that weirdly just keeps getting better each movie adaptation. And that is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. This is Christopher McQuarrie's coming back. Obviously, we have Tom Cruise. And by the title of The Final Reckoning, will this be the final film? I have no idea. But if it is, I think a big giant thank you card, and I don't know, they need to build a statue after that man is Tom Cruise and what he's brought to like cinema and the live action, especially in the era we're living in today, how he does these death-defying stunts and all that stuff just for and it's incredible. Now the Dead Reckoning, which is the previous film, I did not like that as much as I liked Fallout, but it is still a great film. There's some decisions in that, especially with Rebecca Ferguson's character, that they did that I was not very happy with. So I'll just say structure-wise, I wasn't very happy with. But I am looking forward to Final Reckoning. I want to see if this is the final film, or the final installment of this franchise and final outing for Tom Cruise. I'm really excited about this. And then Christopher McQuarrie, obviously they did the Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. They did Fallout, and then they did Dead Reckoning together and stuff like that. And I know there's a bunch of other projects that Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise have worked on in some capacity together. So it's awesome to see that working relationship between them because they just click. I think Tom Cruise, what he wants to put on the screen and what he wants to do, Christopher McQuarrie takes that and he amplifies it to a cinematic level. So I can't wait to see it. I know from we've got trailers and stuff like that. I know that he did like an underwater stunt. They ended up passing out like 6 times or something like that. I know he's hanging off the side of a plane that they said he ended up passing out like 9 times for lack of oxygen. It just all these crazy stunts that he does. I know previous films, hanging from a helicopter without a safety harness. I know what he held on to the side of the plane as it took off from the runway. It's just like all the crazy stuff that Tom does for this. I can't wait to see it, and how thankfully he hasn't died on one of these stunts, but everything that he sacrificed for these films, you can see the bleeding heart on screen. But I'll let you take it away, Chad.
Yeah, no, that's great. I remember just watching the first one in the theater, and it came out in 1996. So you think 1996 to 2025, and we're still going with these movies. And
30 years.
I agree. I mean, I loved the first one, and it was so. It was nice because I grew up, watching Mission Impossible, the TV series, and then when the first movie came out, and it was just so well done, with John Boyd as like the baddie in there, and he did an awesome job, and Tom was awesome, and it had like the triple flip in there, just like everything was just bam, 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 it was so good, and then we're still, when Dead Reckoning came out, and they added Haley Atwell. I knew that Rebecca Ferguson was going to be leaving, and just feel like it's like, well, they're kind of winding down, But man, that was so good, and Tom is just it is his franchise, period, to do what he wants with it, and like I said, sacrificing himself, for every one of these movies. They are man, they're all good. I know the second one gets a lot of heat, but I really think that it's still a good movie in its own right. But and what a good just series of movies in general, and expanding on the characters. You and I, we're big Simon Pegg fans, and to see him when he came in as Benji, and how well they've adapted, adding new characters. And Ving Rhames, he's been there since 1996, since the first movie, and
Yep.
and it's cool to see that they've continued to just expand on these these characters, and they feel real. I mean, it just, as time has passed for us, and it has for them as well. They're not the same characters they were 30 years ago, but that's okay. I mean, the spy game's a tough business, and it keeps going forever. So, you grow old, and you may not be the same that you were, but time's showing that, you can still get out there and kick butt 30 years later, and put a nice, movie on screen that's just exciting, and it keeps you guessing all the time. I love the Mission Impossible series. I'm really excited for this one for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's you bring it up the spy genre. I even contest, and I know I get a lot of hate for this, but besides Casino Royale and Skyfall, but also to certain points or whatever, you have this big IP in 007. I think Mission Impossible was kicking their butt for decades with these films. And
definitely.
I think they were the better spy films, and I just they're just so entertaining. I think they're just well structured and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, don't get that twisted, because I love Daniel Craig as James Bond, and I love Casino Royale and Skyfall and stuff like that. But the other films just weren't that level of the 007 franchise. But man, it just consistently, Mission Impossible has just been so entertaining, and also just upping the ante, and just it just each film just keeps getting better, and it makes no sense. So it just like, because franchises, they deplete over time. It just, all that stuff. I think the only one that got better with each installment, I could probably say, was the Harry Potter franchise. But even with that too, it's just like there was Order of the Phoenix, Goblet of Fire, and things like that. But man, Mission Impossible has just been so consistently great. So it's awesome. So hopefully I didn't jinx it though. So
I don't think you have to worry about that. Yeah. The trailers look great, and the cast is phenomenal. So it's going to be if it's a send off, I think it's going to be like the ultimate send off for all these characters.
All right, so going into our final weekend of the May month, we have May 30th with the. Did you want to talk about the Karate Kid? I was just gonna talk just a little bit about it, not really focus on it, but the Karate Kid Legends that comes out. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Other than like with like Final Destination, I grew up with the Karate Kid, and wanting to be a Karate Kid and all that stuff. It's in my age group, in my wheelhouse as a kid, but I've watched a couple seasons of the Cobra Kai, so I don't know if they're going to just follow up with kind of where they left off for that. I don't know for sure. I don't know enough about it other than the trailers I've watched, and they're introducing this new kid played by Ben Wang as the new Karate Kid. So I don't know enough about it, I guess, but if they're just trying to jumpstart the franchise, maybe this is the way to do it. They brought in Ralph Macchio, of course, and then Jackie Chan is kind of the new Mr. Miyagi, and you see that in the trailer. But we'll see. I don't know enough about it at this point, I guess, to kind of really understand what's happening, other than just more nostalgia for folks in the 35 to 45 age group to just say, "Oh man, I love Karate Kid, so I'm going to go watch this movie." I don't know if that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I only wanted to bring the movie up because I know I was not not in a mean way. It just didn't vibe with me. Was the Cobra Kai series or whatever. I know a lot of people are big fans of that TV show, even to the point where Netflix resurrected it when it almost got canceled, and they gave it a bigger budget and all that stuff. So I'm glad to see like a low budget something like that just growing the way it is.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some stuff I've heard they used like a AI Mr. Miyagi and stuff in there, which I really don't like that. So, but it's just besides that. But no, Jonathan Whistle, this will be his first feature debut, and And I gotta admit, I think the action sequences and stuff like that look really smooth. I like the hand combat. It doesn't seem like it. I seen this like jump high kick off a wall, which a person could do.
I saw that.
Yeah, which a person could do. That's the reason why I didn't really was it Jaden Smith and the Jackie Chan one
the
before
Karate
that?
Kid version.
When he did that, Primantis somersault jump kick. I don't know what it was at the end. I was just like, that was
physics, man. Physics.
Yeah,
you got to remember those.
Yeah, and I just so I don't know, but it's cool seeing Ralph Macchio back. I know he's in that Cobra Kai series as well.
That's awesome.
Jackie Chan, and then this Ben Wang, man, this is his future debut and stuff like that. And the kid really looks like he put a lot of work into the combat, took it serious. I always loved that. If it's done right, you have that story of a bully kid that gets back at the bully. So, so I'm curious about this. I probably will check it out when it comes out. But obviously that same weekend, coming out, which I'll probably be watching that movie first, is next on the list is Bring Her Back. This is a film I'm looking very forward to by Danny and Michael Philippou, which I call the Racka Brothers. They just had their feature debut from A24 year before with Talk to Me. I know that was a big hit, and it's kind of ironic because last night I just showed my wife Talk to Me for the first time, and I didn't even mean to do that before this podcast, but she watched it last night, and I've watched the movie 3 times, and on the third watch, because I really enjoyed the film both times. The first time I watched it, I really liked the film, but man, I keep getting more and more appreciation for the film as I watch it more. And the third time watching it, the film played so well. It was such a great feature debut by them. Of course, I watched the Racka Brothers for years on YouTube when they made their shorts and things like that. So it's just really cool to see like an underdog story like this of coming from YouTube, making movies to like featured films.
Nice.
So
it's nice.
So and then this will also star Sally Hawkins. I don't know anything about the film, which I think that's in a good way. I know it's from A24. They're reuniting with the Racka Brothers, and there is a trailer out there. But yeah, I'm really excited. But you have any thoughts on Bring Her Back?
Yeah, I watched the trailer several times. It's more of a teaser. It's very short. You don't get much of anything, but seeing Sally Hawkins in there, and there's some like almost some like satanic ritual stuff going on. I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but I don't know enough. But I know this is more in your genre. You're more of a horror movie fan than I am, but definitely looks like a good watch, and anything with Sally's going to be fantastic. So an A24 movie, and the Philippou folks doing it. I don't think you can go wrong. It's going to be a fun movie, and probably be a big hit of the summer. So get out and check it out, definitely.
Yeah, and then because it's there is going to be a sequel to Talk to Me, which this is off subject, but marketing wise, if they don't call it Talk with the number 2 and then Me, it's
they will.
You failed the movie already if you didn't. And that's not what you call it. So
Along with Nick Frost, and Hot Fuzz, he would say, "It's a shame if they didn't." Well, he didn't say, cool off when he knocked the guy into the freezer, but anyways, sorry.
Yeah. And then closing out the May month, it looks like this Ghost Trial, which I don't know anything about, but that's also the final film that comes out for the month of May. All right, going on to June. We're going into the June 6th weekend, and we're starting out with, we want to talk a little bit about this film as well, is From the World of John Wick, The Ballerina. So, Chad, I'll let you take it away.
Okay. From the World of John Wick, Ballerina is just, if you watch the trailer, it's just like what it sounds. We've got a new kind of John Wick surrogate, and Eve, played by Ana de Armas, and she's fantastic. Without a doubt, I love seeing her in about anything. She does a great job. Definitely, one of the top actors working right now. Especially, seeing her now doing like this more actiony stuff. We've seen her a little bit, but this is next level. We've all seen the behind the scenes stuff, like with Halle Berry when or not Halle Berry, the other one. I can't remember her name. But we've seen a lot of behind the scenes stuff where they're learning how to do the gun work and all that stuff, and it's a lot of work. A lot of work, a lot of months working with experts on looking like they've been doing this their whole life. And we've seen Keanu doing it, and now we see Ana de Armas doing it. And then we also, if you've seen the trailer, you get a little bit of John Wick in there as well. But basically, the character that she plays, Eve, her father gets killed, and then she goes on a rampage. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just kind of similar to what happened in the first John Wick. And I don't know if they're looking at this as an opportunity to just expand the universe with Ana de Armas, or they're looking to retire John and kind of let her move on with this franchise. I haven't heard enough about that. Whether they're which of one or the other they're trying to do, but I think it looks fun. I don't know if I've got some fatigue on like the John Wick series, but I did like the last one that came out. I was kind of in the middle on the other two after the first one, but after watching them a little bit more lately, I'm getting to appreciate them a little bit more. I just loved the first one. It just felt just so much grittier, and then the other one just kind of went in a different direction, a little of a tangent, and then the last one I thought was really well done. So anyways, I think this is going to be an awesome addition to the universe that we're getting put together. Obviously we got the Continental series and stuff happening as well, but an action adventure starting in June, and I think everyone's if you're a John Wick fan, everyone's looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it was. I know there's the drama going on behind the scenes of the film. It ended up getting delayed a year. Lee Wiseman, who is the director attached to it, I guess it got really bad reception from the studio that they ended up making Chad Eversole come in, who did all the other John Wick films, come in direct almost like 70% of the film or something like that, maybe even higher than that. And Len Wiseman, like I said, obviously he's doing more than me, so I'm not poo-pooed on the guy's filmography, but he did the original Underworld, which I really like that. And he did Underworld Evolution, Live Free or Die Hard, and the Total Recall remake, which I don't think those films are very good. I do like the first Underworld film. I think that's a very underrated, cool concept, an action film and all that stuff. But the rest of his filmography, I was just very taken aback that they would bring him on for this. I know he is an action filmmaker and stuff like that, but it was just very odd. So, and then just see the back, I don't know how you word that, but it didn't work out, obviously, if they had to bring in Chad Stahelski to do that. So it was just an odd decision to have him do this spinoff. So I don't know. Maybe he had a great pitch. I don't know what it was. But Ana de Armas, I love her. I think she's a great actress. The film has Ian McShane, of course, back, and then Keanu Reeves pops up in this. But someone said behind the scenes, too, it's not really called The Ballerino. Somebody called it John Wick 3.0 because this takes place between John Wick 3 and John Wick 4. So somebody said it's like basically John Wick 3.5. So I was just like, really? So it makes me wonder if all the reshoots they brought in Keanu to just have that marketing, grab.
Maybe he wasn't in it at all at first. And they just kind of that could very well be. That makes a lot of sense.
And even when you see Keanu Reeves in the trailer and everything else, you can see that he's actually got some age on him now compared to how, he does put on some bulk size and stuff like that because he has to get ready for these action scenes. But the most recent trailer that came out, they were like, he comes out walking through the snow and she's like, they sent you here to kill me. And he's like, only if you don't come back. And then, she's like, I'm not going back. And he's like, your choice. And then they start going at it. So it looks like John probably has a lot bigger role than this. And also, I don't think it's going to happen at the end, but I honestly would be a very cool and unexpected arc for the character is if John Wick kills her at the end. Because John Wick at the end of the day, he is an assassin. He has to do jobs. And
Yeah.
obviously, by the high table, and he's being hunted by the high table, he's like, hey, maybe this is my ticket out. If I kill her, showing my good faith, I could get out of this situation that he's in. Because obviously, it's continuing that after John Wick 2, he's being hunted by the high table. He's banned from everything. And then he ends up going to, it's played by what's her face? She's the head of the ballerinas.
Angelica Houston.
Yeah, there we go. Angelica Houston. All that stuff. She's like, yeah, if this is your ticket and you want help, do this mission for me and all that stuff. So it would be a very, for the crowd, like John Wick, oh my God, I can't believe he killed her. But at the end of the day, John Wick is an assassin. And if this is his way out, you want a morally gray hero. I like a gray hero instead of like just a purely good. So it would be very interesting. I don't think it's going to happen because I hope Ana de Armas gets more action films and stuff like that, but we'll see what happens. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I just hope the action is crisp, which I've seen the trailers and stuff like that. It looks awesome. I really like the shot where Ana de Armas like shoots a dude through the head and then takes the axe out of his hand and throws it down the across the room, hits the dude in the head. Just like the action does look freaking sweet. It's just, is it the story structure, the world building and stuff like that? I hope I come out of it like learning something new about the John Wick world, because I think that's what made the John Wick film so special. Is each film you learn something, not just about John Wick, but you also learned about this world and the Continental and the freaking high table and blah blah blah. We still yet to see the high table. Who's the high table? So so we do. So sorry we spent way too long on that, but going on from the world of John Wick ballerina, we go into the life of Chuck. The reason why I highlighted this one was this is the new film from Mike Flanagan, and I really love Mike Flanagan. He did the directing of Hush and Doctor Sleep movies, and then also TV wise, he's known for Midnight Mass, Haunting a Hill House, and then Gerald's Game, all that stuff on Netflix. The cast looks incredible. Chiwetel Ejiofor, Tom Hiddleston, Carey Gilligan, Benjamin Part, Mia Sara, Matthew Lillard. It's just like so many people. And then I think, Kate Siegel and then Mark Hamill as well. The trailer looks interesting. It's more of a teaser, obviously. It doesn't really give anything away. And I love Tom Hiddleston. So to see this Stephen King adaptation done by Mike Flanagan, who did Dr. Sleep as well, which is another Stephen King book. I'm very excited about this. But your thoughts on the life of Chuck?
Yeah, the trailer didn't give too much information away. All I could do is read that that's this based on this Stephen King novella, and that it includes like some time jumping through this Chuck's life. Starting off, obviously they have different actors playing him as a youth, and then a teen, and then Tom playing him as an adult. So I don't know much more than that. So it's just one of those things where I'm not sure exactly, but you got Stephen King. It's a Neon production. Mike Flanagan's involved. The cast is awesome. We got Karen Gillan, which we don't see her enough in things from at least from my perspective, Doctor Who fame, and then the new Jumanji movies, and then obviously she's in all the Avengers and stuff. But Harvey Guillen from What We Do in the Shadows, and Tom, and it's got Matthew Lillard in it, which I hate Matthew Lillard, but I don't know why. I still can't get over that. But I think it definitely has the possibilities to be like a really cool movie, with everybody that's involved, and I think it's maybe a sleeper kind of a movie, where it gets a lot of buzz just because of like the cast and stuff. So I think that's a good watch for the summer, and hopefully more trailers come to follow, because I honestly have no idea really what's going on.
Yeah. And then moving on to, we have the Phoenician Scheme. Did I say that right?
I think it's Phoenician.
I think it's
Scheme. Phoenician.
All right.
Yeah, and I looked it up yesterday a little bit, trying to figure out a little bit more about it too, the name. But
It's the new film from Wes Anderson, and that's the reason why I highlighted it, because anything Wes Anderson that comes out, I always put it on my radar, obviously. I looked at a little bit the synopsis. It said a dark tale of espionage. I can't say it. Anyways, can't talk this morning. Following a strange, yeah, there we go. Following a strained father-daughter relationship within a family business. Twists revolve around betrayal and moral gray choices. Good Lord, I can't talk. But the cast, just like any other Wes Anderson film, looks incredible. Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Benedict Cumberbatch, Bryan Cranston, Bill Murray, Rupert Friend, Benicio del Toro, Jeffrey Wright, Richard Ayoade, Michael Cera, freaking Riz Ahmed. Just the list goes on and on. So yeah, it's Wes Anderson. I'm really excited about it. I don't care what the movie's about. I'm gonna watch it. It's Wes Anderson. So your thoughts?
Yeah, the same. I love Wes Anderson. I watched Royal Tenenbaums like 2 days ago. I was flipping through and I saw it was available like on Max or something, and so I watched it. And oh my gosh, it's so awesome! And just the fact that they're dealing with relationships. And that's what Wes does such a good job of. And Royal Tenenbaums, being one of them. Well, like Grand Budapest, Asteroid City, they've got those relationships too. But since I just saw Royal Tenenbaums, I can speak to that a little bit better about the father-daughter relationship in there, with Gene Hackman and Gwyneth Paltrow's characters, and how she's adopted, but by the end they end up, he considers her not his adopted daughter anymore, but her actual daughter as he's dying. But Wes does such a good comedic job of tackling these like really kind of heart-wrenching stories of relationships, in all kinds of ways. But I'm super excited. Obviously, I couldn't find out much about it. There's no real trailers online that I could find that made any sense. So it was just a bunch of gobbledygook that people put together trying to get clicks. But the cast sounds phenomenal, and like you said, Wes Anderson is all I really needed to hear. He could throw a bunch of sock puppets in there and it'd probably be awesome to watch, so it doesn't really matter. It's Wes.
Yep, and then moving on from that, we go into, still staying on that June 6th weekend, we have The Ritual, which stars Dan Stevenson and Al Pacino. They literally just dropped a trailer for this like 3 days ago. It looks cool. It's demon possession. I think demon possession and religious horror is kind of overplayed the last couple of years, but could it be something different and cool and stuff like that? Maybe go back to the roots of like The Exorcist and really freak you out, because I love Al Pacino, and then obviously I love Dan Stevens. I think that dude is one of the most underrated actors working today, and he needs to be in more stuff, because I think he has phenomenal range, and I can't wait to see him. He plays a priest in this, and it looks pretty rad, but will it be executed rad? So we'll see what happens. But Dangerous Animals is the next film. This is a Shudder original, I believe, about a serial killer that takes people out and feeds them to, like, he's got a containment cage of sharks, and he feeds them to sharks and stuff like that. So it looks pretty Jai Courtney in it and all that stuff. And then the final film for that weekend is I Don't Understand You. And then moving on to the June 13th weekend, this is obviously a movie we talked a little bit about already, but more focus on it is the live-action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon from DreamWorks. And then, Chad, I'll let you take that away.
Sure. We've already talked about that this was coming out. We've already debated the live-action versus, original animation, all that stuff. But that being said, if you've seen the trailer, you see that they've done just a phenomenal job on Toothless and the other dragons that we've seen in the trailers. The kid that got to play Hiccup, Mason Thames, he's the same guy from the Black Phone.
Yep. And
he was awesome in that. Absolutely awesome in that. And I think he's going to do a phenomenal job as Hiccup. Everything we've seen, it feels like a shot-for-shot kind of remake, and if that's the case, there's not much to say about it because we already know the story. So I guess the question will come up, where are they going to make changes, if any? But the story is out there. You can go watch that right now and see what's going to happen, probably. But unless they make any changes, which we don't know. But I think just from converting from animated to live action, it looks like it's going to be top tier. So hopefully, knock on wood, we get that, and I think we are. But we'll see when it comes out.
Yep. And then about that too. I know Dean DeBlois, and I'll get to him here in a second, but he said that he made the film and put shots in the trailer that just looks familiar to the animated thing. He's like, but he was like, we wanted to make something different. You'll have elements there that's the same, but he worded it as we made the film to basically seem like the live action version came before the animated ones. So he's like, I wanted to make it feel like the animated were an adaptation of this live action film. So he said they have changed stuff in there, all that stuff, but they want to save it for the movie. So that makes me really excited. But as far as Dean DeBlois or Dean DeBlois, I don't know how you say his last name, but
That's good.
he is the director of the original animated films. And once I heard that he was attached to it, because I heard the How to Train Your Dragon was getting a live action adaptation, I was like, oh no, no. It's just like, they're perfect already, or I don't touch them. And then I heard Dean DeBlois was coming back to direct the live action version. I'm like, all right, I'm good, I'm sold. So and he even over the last 6 months has just made me even more confident and more excited about the film, because even in interviews he talked about, he was like, once I heard that the studio wanted to do a live action remake, I was like, I needed to get attached to it, because he's like, I don't want this to go into somebody else's hand and not be cared with love. And that made my heart warm to hear him say that, because like I said, I've loved every single trailer that's come out from this. I love the design of the dragons and Toothless, and it looks phenomenal. And the genius of just literally doing a 1-1 adaptation visually of what Toothless looks like on screen, I just think was the way to go. We've talked about before the movie even gave any first looks, is I said, yes, you could go for that House of the Dragon design and the dragons, but I don't think you change the eyes. I think you keep that innocence and that uniqueness, all that stuff to Toothless. You keep the eyes the same, and he even did it better. He just did a 1-1 adaptation visually of what he looked, and then also brought in those big adorable green eyes. So I just I'm so excited from this. Yeah, Mason Thames from the Black Phone, I think he's going to be awesome as Hiccup. Gerard Butler coming back to play the dad is awesome as Stoic. And then and also Nick Frost coming into this as well. I love it. So I've loved everything I've seen from it. I think the cast looks awesome. Dean DeBlois, I know him directing it, I have all the confidence in the world. This is going to be epic, and it's going to be on the IMAX screen. I can't wait. And if there was any pushback, I was like, you have to nail the flying sequences, because that's what was so beautiful in the animated series. And they showed this beautiful shot in the live action version of him going through like the side of this mountain with the ocean water hitting the cliff sides and stuff like that, and it looks breathtaking. So I can't wait to see it. I really feel like we haven't seen much from this film. That's what's got me more excited about it. So but yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. I'm so excited about that. But the next film on that releasing that weekend is The Materialist, which is the new film of Celine Song, who's known for her previous movie that she just did was Past Lives. That I know got a lot of Academy love and Oscar buzz and award buzz and stuff like that. One of the best director debuts, and I can't wait to see what she does with this, with Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal. And then you have Meeting the Pol Pot that weekend, and then that is it for the June 13th, and then we're going on to June 20th weekend, and this is obviously a film we're definitely talking about, is 28 Years Later. And do you want to take it away or me?
Yeah, you go ahead. I know that's your jam, so yeah, go for it. I'll follow up.
All right, so not only it's been almost 28 years since the original Danny Boyle horror masterpiece that came out in 2002 is 28 Days Later. It's a long overdue sequel. that I'm so excited about. And then also we're getting a trilogy of it, so that just makes it even better. And then hearing that Danny Boyle is back in the director's chair, you have Alex Garland back doing the script, the original cinematographer from 28 Days Later, and then they shot this on an Apple iPhone. I love. I'm loving every single second of it. And then the 28 Days Later was such an impactful film and very close to my heart, my movie loving heart, and obviously to the point where I wrote a script back in high school called 28 Hours Later, and something I'm really still passionate about getting made into a short film, which I've made a trailer for it and stuff like that, but I would love to do a short film adaptation of that script I made. You can obviously see the impact that 28 Days Later had on me, and I can't wait for this. I think the trailer, and I'm not saying it from a biased point of view, but it probably one of the best horror trailers I've seen in probably a decade was the 28 Years Later trailer that they released with the creepy poem of Boots chanting in the background, and it looks very interesting, and it almost looks like the tagline of it was hopefully I don't have it in front of me. Or maybe I do. Yeah, I do. Okay. In 28 days it began, in 28 weeks it spread, in 28 years it evolved. And I just, it's such an interesting concept, because obviously if you're going to go by an actual virus and stuff like that, over time a virus can mutate. So we'll see what happens with the rage virus in this. 28 years later, what has happened to this? Did, the infected evolve somehow to be even more adaptable killing, spreading the virus, stuff like that. There's just, like I said, the trailer really doesn't give anything away, and there's trinkets. Now, I am talking right now because CinemaCon is tomorrow, and supposedly Sony is the first panel, and we're probably going to get a new trailer for 28 Years Later tomorrow, but obviously I'm not going to have this podcast posted in time to where I could give my reactions to that new trailer, but I'm just going off the only one that we have right now that released at Christmas time. It seems like the virus has, it looked like one of the infected, like a horde of infected were running at the camera, but there was one standing in the background. And it makes me wonder if is that some kind of alpha infected that can actually steer the infected to go attack in a certain direction, like a hunting flock, like wolves. So I just thought that was very interesting. The little details that I've got about the film was that NATO comes into this area that's infected, but the rest of the world is completely fine. So it's basically there's just like an entire almost like country is quarantined from this virus and stuff like that. So it's such a phenomenal concept, and then of course Danny Boyle is a phenomenal director, and Alex Garland is a great screenwriter. So to bring real life stuff of this is probably most accurate what would happen if a virus like this broke out in the real world and stuff like that. So I'm very excited. I know Danny Boyle is directing the first adaptation, which is called 28 Years Later. You have Nia DaCosta is directing the second adaptation that is called The Bone Temple, and then right now the third part does not have an official title, but Danny Boyle is coming back to direct that, and I don't think Cillian Murphy will be in this film unless he has a small appearance at the end. But I do think he's probably going to be heavily featured in probably the second and third film. But we'll see what happens. I know the second film is already done and shot, and I know the third adaptation starts production this summer and everything. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll shut up because I'll talk about this movie all day. So you gotta talk about.
No, that's good. That's a good breakdown. I actually put a note in mine that we kind of expect Cillian Murphy to make some kind of appearance. I know we've seen like what appears to maybe be a zombie that looks like him, but who knows really what's going to happen with that. But it's nice to hear about the sequels and stuff coming, right behind it. So that's awesome. But that's it. I mean, you always do a good job of breaking those things down. So we'll see where all the hubbub is, and hopefully it does well, and because it should. I love the rage virus from the 28 the 28 series, 28 years, 28 days, 28 months series. So we'll see how it does out there. But it's another one of those movies that I know it's coming out in June and everything's fine and it doesn't really matter, but I wish they would move some more like horror centric movies, into, near Halloween time, just because I think that's what they should do. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's got me really excited about it too, because Sony shows so much confidence that they released it in summer. So
yeah,
and
exactly. That's a good thing.
I really like that confidence, and then also that, what was it? Just basically. Releasing of the film. I think it's what they do, like a poll. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I'll just call it a poll. But they were talking about most anticipated films of 2025, and once again I just call it the normies, the regular moviegoers and stuff like that voted on this, and
yeah.
It was 28 years. 28 years later was like number 4. So that has me really excited from like just outside normie people reception and stuff like that. And I've had so many people, and of course I love the appreciation and everybody complimenting about the 28 hours later, but everybody's always asked me about. I've never seen the original. I'm like, you need to watch that crap right now. So it's available now on. It wasn't available like physically for years, but now it's available digitally on like Amazon and wherever you buy digital movies and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely check out 28 Days Later. It's a special horror film, and I just it's very timeless and stuff like that. But and I forgot to say too, after my nerding out about it, Jodie Comer, which I think she's the best actress working today, like top 3. And then you have Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jack O'Connell, Alfred Williams, and then you have Ralph Fiennes, which Ralph Fiennes is the only actor alive that I think it's a shame that he doesn't have an Oscar on his mantle, because he's the man.
Crazy.
So
he is the man.
But yeah, the cast looks incredible and everything else. But I'm so excited, and to know that Jodie Comer is going to be in this as well. I'm just so excited. But 28 Days Later is for the June 20th weekend, and my cursor jumped on me. All right, there we go. And then the next film we have on the list that weekend is Bride Hard, which is Rebel Wilson. And then we have Pixar's Elio that comes out that weekend. You have Familiar Touch, and then you have Happy End. And then going into the June 27th weekend, we have the first film that I wanted to talk a little bit about is this F1 movie. So, Chad, did you want to take that away, or?
Yeah, I can. I'll give you a little bit I know of it. I did watch I've been watching the trailer. I see that it's an Apple original film. It's got Brad Pitt in it, which is kind of all you need to know from the get-go. But obviously, with the name Formula One, what it is, it's by the same filmmakers who did Top Gun Maverick. So if you watch the trailer, you see a lot of really cool like cockpit shots, and it's, even though it's a car, versus the plane, it's still a cockpit for Formula One, I believe. But so just some really cool, just visual action sequences with the cars, and just like you'd expect from the folks who just did Top Gun Maverick, and got a lot of praise for the visuals of that. But it's about Brad Pitt plays a guy that was considered really in his time really great Formula One driver, but he just never really got the the accolades, and so this is kind of follows his career after an accident on the track that ended his career as a driver, and then he's moved into developing his own team and drivers and stuff for Formula One. But we don't see a lot of Formula One here, other than like Indianapolis 500 in the U.S. So is a Formula One movie going to be a big hit here in the U.S.? I don't know, but it's an Apple, and it's going to be an Apple film, so maybe it's going to get a broader release, than that, I hope. But I don't know. I mean, it looks great. It looks like a good action movie. We just had that other racing one, the Gran Turismo one that came out based on that, the kid that learned how to drive online and ended up actually driving the real car. So we've got some, more racing stuff going on. I don't know how it did at the box office, but Formula One with Brad Pitt, yeah, who knows? I mean, it could be a sleeper hit like Top Gun Maverick was. I don't think people expected as much for mid and then end up, making all kinds of bank. So we shall see what happens with the Formula One movie.
Yeah, I was and you got to all the way. Joe Kosinski coming back from Top Gun Maverick. I think this is one of those films as well, and all for the better, because I think Kosinski is a really good filmmaker. I think they gave him a blank check. Anybody after Top Gun Maverick success and stuff like that. And I do love the filmmaking in this. I think it looks freaking rad. I've heard so much footage they've shot over this. Same thing with Top Gun Maverick, of how much like 40 hours of footage they shot of like them in the cockpits, the planes, and it's all like practical and stuff like that. So I really love practical filmmaking, so I'm a big fan of that. Brad Pitt, of course. I like the cool laid back, like the dude's like, there's a shot where he's got like a bunch of tattoos and he's like all ripped up, shirtless, like laying back and all that stuff. It just like, it seems like the hot shot of his time, and his time has passed, and then this new hot shot young guy comes along. So it's gonna be cool to see those like young and old dynamics clash against each other, as it seems to be happening in the trailer. Brad Pitt's awesome. Carrie Condon's in this, and then also obviously the great Javier Bardem is in this as well. So I'm really excited about this. I think the filmmaker Kosinski attached to this. What's not to be excited about, but it looks really cool. And I hope, being that it's Formula One, I have so many friends that are Formula One nuts about that stuff.
Really?
So I really hope that this really tickles that itch for people, or scratches that itch, scratches that itch for people, and all that stuff, because I would love to see a really good, well-made Formula One film. And that Gran Turismo you talked about too, surprisingly a really good movie. I had no hopes for that, and I love Neil Blomkamp, but man, that movie was actually really good. Definitely check that out if you want to get your Formula One fix and stuff like that. But F1 comes out the June 27th weekend, and then continuing that same weekend, we have next is the Megan 2.0. Do you want to take that away, or real quick, or do you want me?
Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead and do that one.
Yeah, all I was going to say is I was a big fan of Megan, the first film. I thought it was a really cool, low-budget film done by Blumhouse, which I think they excel at. They take pocket change and make it into a movie. And then, of course, let's see here. Who is it? Gerald Johnson, who directed the first Megan, is coming back to do this as well. So that's really exciting. And then just, the whole cast is returning from the first one. And I think Megan is like our modern day Child's Play, with no pun intended. It's really hits the nail on the head of what it is. But also just kind of like a robot with some sass, man. It's just like, it's awesome. And just like, let's get a Chucky versus Megan movie going, whatever. That'd be pretty cool. But no, it looks cool. I'm not expecting Shakespeare in this sequel. I think it's pretty like a slasher, obviously a killer doll, if you're a killer robot, whatever you want to call it, AI. So I'm not expecting Shakespeare, but I am looking forward to it, because I enjoyed Megan, the first one. So, Chad?
Yeah, that's it. You nailed it. Don't go into expecting more than what it is, and that's just going to be a lot of doll killing action. The little teaser trailer that's out, it's got her, dancing, and then, kind of talking and winking at the camera, which is super creepy. So if you just go into it, you had fun with the first one, you should have fun with this, and just leave it at that. So it's nothing groundbreaking that I'm aware of, but it's going to be a fun time, absolutely.
Yeah, the little bit of info I have in front of me right now, it doesn't say, and I'm trying not to lose my place, so I'm trying not to exit the screen out. I don't know if this is going to be. Are they finally going to push it to be rated R? Because I know the first one was PG-13, and I don't know if it's going to be rated R, or they're just going to stick with the PG-13. So we'll see what happens. Because I kind of hope they do push it to R, because that was kind of one of the things I think was missing from the first film to really, take it to another level and stuff like that. There was some kills and stuff. You're just like, man, that probably would have been better if we got, a little bit more brutal. So,
that may be. I mean, I'm looking at the synopsis where it says 2 years after Megan's Rampage, your creator, Gemma, resorts to resurrecting your infamous creation in order to take down Amelia, the military-grade weapon who was built by a defense contractor who stole Megan's underlying tech. So,
Ooh.
man, there's going to be a lot of military folks involved, and obviously it's going to be some robot-on-robot battle action. So you don't really get R with that. But man, if they're going into this military compound and killing dudes, I'd be surprised if it wasn't R. And I think you're absolutely right. It should be. So we'll see what happens with that one.
Yeah, and that kind of sounds realistic as well, because what was it? That was ironically the next film we're going to be talking about. But when they did those Jurassic World films, like taking the raptors and using them for military purposes, I'm like, that's totally something that we would probably do. So,
and probably are doing now. I have no idea. I assume
there's some soldier dinosaurs out there, but no, but Megan, taking that software and just turning it into a weapon. Obviously, that's what happened with the actual film. Becoming advanced and stuff like that, but doing it on a military level totally makes sense that they would try to do that. So that's a pretty cool concept. All right, so we are leaving June and going into July. So we have really the only big releasing film that weekend is June 2nd. It releases on a Wednesday, but obviously the July 4th weekend, going the holiday weekend, we have Jurassic World Rebirth. And I only wanted to talk about Jurassic World Rebirth because if this was the previous, did they make 3 of those things?
Yeah, they already did make 3 of them. Okay,
yeah. Well, that shows how much James has kept up on that. But
it's crazy.
Yeah, Jurassic World, I wasn't a really big fan of. I mean, it was fine, and we just talked about the military thing. Like, you took some cool concepts, but also bad concepts. It's just like, I don't know. It was I'm not really a big fan of these new adaptation Jurassic World films. I love, obviously, the original Jurassic Park. I even love The Lost World. I even like Jurassic Park 3. With besides the talking raptor and the nightmare sequence. So
terrible.
But no, the Jurassic Worlds, I've just never vibed with this. I think I'm just not a big fan of this. Now, the reason why I did want to talk about Jurassic World Rebirth is because they brought on Gareth Edwards, and I really like Gareth Edwards as a filmmaker that did Rogue One. He did The Creator, and now he's going on to do this. And then he's also done some budget horror films that I really enjoyed from him as well, which I probably should have said that. Give me a moment. Let's see. Director. Blah, blah. Oh, yeah. And then he did the 2014's Godzilla, which I really defend that film because I really think that's a well done monster film. I know a lot of people complain that you don't see the monster that much and blah blah blah, but I love never any of the camera angles in that film was from a cinematic point of view. It was always from a human level. So anytime you've seen the creatures and stuff like that, it's like that's how a person would see it, from ground level or from a rooftop or from the sky or something like that. I just love the filmmaking process that he did with that Godzilla film. And then, of course, his debut film, the sci-fi monster movie called Monsters. It's very well done. But no, I like Gareth Edwards as a filmmaker, so that's the only reason that I'm definitely going to be checking this out. And don't get me wrong, you think it would be the cast of Scarlett Johansson, Muhammad Ali, and Jonathan Bailey. That's just a very like a cool little addition, because I think they're obviously everybody in that cast is phenomenal, but it's just people getting eaten by dinosaurs. That's what we're here for. Stuff like that. Just do something unique and cool with it. Just don't go over the top too much. Stuff like that. I get it that it's realistic to a point that we would do experimentation of dinosaurs and what you could do with that DNA and all that stuff. So if they could make this into almost like a xenomorph type horror film, all that stuff with because I know there's some kind of experiment dinosaur that's going to be in this. So I'm just if you could bring back those horror roots, and then also I know the Jurassic Park book. they have a scene in here that I know a lot of fans of the book are really excited about, where they're floating down the river being tracked down by a T-Rex, so like chomping through the water and stuff like that. So it's I'm really excited to check this out. Like I said, I'm not gonna be knocking over kids to get into the theater to see this and stuff like that, because that's how exhausted I am with this franchise. But Gareth Edwards being there, that has some confidence in it and stuff like that. So I will definitely be checking this out. So Chad.
Nice. Yeah, I like that you said that you're exhausted with the franchise, because that's exactly how I felt watching even the trailer, And I like Scarlett, and I like, Rupert Friend and Ed Skrein, all the cast that they brought in. Well, I even made a note that just says, I thought the trailer looked good, but it reminded me of the plot of Jurassic Park 2, where you got this team that's going in. We know there's dinosaurs here and they're bad, but we're going to get this group of military people together to go in so we can gather samples and do testing, all this stuff. I was like, man, this seems really familiar. And then they did like the one in the Jurassic Park in the third one. They did the same, like going down the river scene, with the boat and the things are coming out and all this. So it's like a lot of like rehashed stuff to me. And then they took Chris Pratt out and Bryce Dallas Howard. Whether they're going to even mention that these people existed or not, I have no clue. But visually, like I've mentioned 1,000 times over, the dinosaurs look great. The visuals are awesome. They've got the best tech in the world making these visuals for this stuff now. So you can almost just put that off to the side and just focus on the story, knowing that it's going to look great. We know that. But are they just rehashing a lot of the same, old storylines from Jurassic Park, Jurassic World? It just, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it other than, it'd be a fun, like, 4th of July weekend movie to watch, but I don't know that I'm really clamoring to go see it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's pretty much how you just described it. It's 4th of July weekend. I'm probably going to be checking it out because I'm sure there's going to be family around. Somebody who's going to send it. And this is the movie that's available. It's like, hey, people getting eaten by dinosaurs. Let's all get together and go see that. So it's a good spot for it as well, because I'm trying to see what was before that. Yeah, because F1 and Megan, and then you obviously have 28 Years Later's out as well. So we'll see. We'll see. It doesn't make money at the box office, which I think it's going to. It's a Jurassic World film. They make money, so that's the reason why they keep making them, because they make money and stuff like that. I just wish the more, and hopefully Gareth Edwards brings that into it, but I want more quality put into the script instead of like, oh, let's just get a cash grab going on here. So.
Definitely.
So that's it for the July 2nd weekend, and then we're going on to July 11th, and then this is another movie we wanted to focus on as well, and this is probably, I would probably say, the most anticipated, even if you don't like superhero stuff, this is the most, I think a lot of pressure is riding on this, and that is James Gunn's Superman. So, I'll let you take that away, Chad.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. It's not on my list of most anticipated summer movies, but it is definitely, with all the hubbub of the trailer when it came out, and then, it's kind of this meme-worthy footage we're getting of Nathan Fillion, as the Guy Gardner's Green Lantern. I don't know if they're trying to generate just buzz for buzz's sake, but, it's Superman, for crying out loud, the greatest superhero ever created, and they've kind of dropped the ball on some of the movies lately with visual effects issues and story related issues, and now Henry Cavill isn't attached anymore, and they've got the the new guy that's playing Superman, and this David Corenswet, is that his name? Corenswet?
It's either Cornswet or Cornsweat. A lot of people say a lot of people pronounce it as Corn Sweat, but that is a weird. Man, I'd be like, it's Cornsweat. That sounds more professional.
I'm going with Corn Sweat because I love it. Corn Sweat. Well, we got the new guy here, which he isn't like the archetype, like Superman looking dude exactly, but I don't get so hung up on that part of it, as it just has to have a good story. We've got Nicholas Hoult playing Lex Luthor in there, and that could be great. And then Millie Alcock from House of the Dragon is in there as Supergirl, and I think she could be really awesome. So, yeah, there's some hype to it because it's Superman. It's not on my list of what I want to see in the summer, but James Gunn's directing it, and we all know him from a million other superhero movies. But it's Superman. It's a Superman story with the new Superman and all new folks and James Gunn attached. So do with it what you want. So we'll wait for more trailers to come out. We've seen, obviously, the ones that come out. There have been some funny moments in those, and that's good. And then there's been some cringy moments in them with some weird perspective on, like, the flying and stuff like that. People have made a lot of memes about. But, so not on my top 5 for the summer, but I think it's going to get a lot of buzz. And hopefully it does well. I'm all for a Superman movie doing well and reviving the franchise, because he is the greatest superhero created. So, let's see if they can do a little bit of justice with James Gunn on at the helm.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I understand it. It's the internet. You're gonna have the comic nerds fighting and killing each other. I know there's the whole Zack Snyder's Justice League movement, blah blah blah. Just like putting that all to the side. This is this guy coming from the point of view is I really enjoy all of James Gunn's adaptions of his comic book stuff, even as far as like even TV shows. I love Peacemaker. I love the freaking Creature Commandos that just recently came out. I think that this guy's in his wheelhouse, and everybody's like, oh, all he makes is superhero movies. But hey, if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it just I love how he gives these emotional depths to characters. We obviously seen that on full display throughout the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy and Peacemaker and Creature Commandos and all that stuff. Suicide Squad is just like, he actually gives like human stories to these characters, and then at the same time they're superhuman and superpowers and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to see what James Gunn does with this. Like I said, people can talk about, I prefer the Man of Steel, I prefer Zack Snyder's adaptation of the his Batman and Superman and blah blah blah. It's like two things. It's that's not happening, so gotta get over it. And then also at the same time, you didn't support that then. And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people go out and support films. I'm one of them. But the overall masses did not come out and support Zack Snyder's vision and all that stuff. So don't come at me with it. It's facts. And that's the thing is. And I think they had to go into another direction, and you want to separate yourselves. It's kind of how I feel out with like Matt Reeves and Christopher Nolan. When they did their Batman adaptions, is you have to do something different. You can't be the same old thing. So to see that James Gunn's going for more of like a bright, colorful, it'll have serious moments. I hate that everybody keeps saying that this is going to be just slapstick and just jokes everywhere, blah blah blah. It's like, have you watched any of James Gunn's other films that he's adapted? He has emotional depth to them. I'm like, you have your dark moments. I'm like, dude, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is like probably one of the darkest comic book films I've seen in a very long time. It just sure. If we're not talking about like a rated R like Logan or something like that, but if we're talking like in the PG range, this is probably one of the darkest stories I've ever seen in a comic book adaptation. And it was so well done, and like I said, I can't see who does this. I will defend David Cornsweet. I think he's going to be awesome as Superman. I love Henry Cavill as Superman, I do, but that's not happening, guys. So it's just like, we have David Cornsweet, he's in the cape, all that stuff, and this bring back Henry Cavill, that's not happening. It's just James Gunn's doing a different adaptation. That's the end of the line right there. There you go. And so it just like I think he's gonna do awesome as it. I'm not a big fan of how the Superman suit looks. Same thing with I don't like how some of the supposable Justice League members like Hawkgirl and Green Lantern and stuff like that. I don't like their costumes, but I think that's done purposely because I think those are corporate made costumes, and I think Superman, Clark Kent's Superman suit in this. I kind of want to think that was made by his mom and dad, and I think we're gonna get a more like polished version at the end of the film and stuff like that, because it does look like later in the film you can see that the suit gets damage on it, so it's all deteriorated away. If that was made on Krypton, I don't think there's any damage that can happen to the suit. So I think we'll get a different suit and stuff like that. But no, I think the action looks really cool. I love the shot in the trailer that we have where he jumps in front of the debris that's getting ready to hit this little girl and covers her, and I love that he's punching a monster in the face. It's just like, it's Superman crap. And picking up Lois Lane, who's going to be played by Rachel Brosnahan, which I'm really excited about that. I think picking her up and like kissing her and they're spinning at the same time. I just think that's such an iconic Superman shot. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I'm so excited to see him, and good for Nicholas Hoult, because I think that dude is a very well actor that deserves all the praise. Alec Turik's going to be in this. I know who's the guy that plays NoHo Hank and Barry.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, he's in it.
That guy.
I
can't remember that.
I love the cast. I'm really excited about this. Like I said, there's an extremely lot of pressure on this film because there are so many eyeballs on this. From the hatred side to the good side to the middle side, business wise. It's a lot of pressure for James Gunn, and I hope he pulls it off, because I don't think the movie has to be good. I think the movie has to be great, and unfortunately the weight that's going to be sitting on this, because this is supposed to spark a new vision for the DC going forward and stuff like that. So I believe in James Gunn. I think he's going to do a really good job with this, and really nothing from his past adaptions can show that in a negative way that it won't be awesome, because I think superhero films are his passion, and then also his wheelhouse, that he does a very good job as a filmmaker. So I'm really excited about it. But moving on from Superman, that same weekend we have Don't Let Go to the Dogs Tonight. That's a very odd title, but it's an adaptation of the and I just had her name. Man, my cursor keeps jumping all over the place. Anyways, it's an adaptation of the Alexandra Fuller's book by the same name. I know this is a book that a lot of people are really excited about getting an adaptation on screen about it and stuff like that. It looks very like low budget and stuff like that, but it's got crazy good reviews so far, so I'm going to put that on people's radar. And then going on to the July 18th weekend, we have I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is a sequel to, obviously, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the series from, was that the 90s? That come out in the 90s?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, and then you have Jennifer Love Hewitt, and who's the other guy's name? Played played in Scooby-Doo.
Matthew Lillard?
No, not Matthew Lillard. Something Prince Jr.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know where you were going.
Yeah, I was drawing a blank. I'm like, what the crap? But anyways, they're coming back for it as well. So we'll see.
Nice.
It's one of these slasher things. Is it like Scream? Is it going to have a spark like Scream franchise? Like, you just bring back the OGs and continue something? So we'll see if they have something with this.
And
then, of course, you have Smurfs the Musical, which is a film I will not be seeing. But, I know...
you'll be seeing it.
Yeah, people have kids. I have kids, and I don't think I've heard one time Evie say, I want to go see the Smurfs movie. So... hopefully, I don't get dragged as a dad, even though I love my daughter. And then we're going to go into the final weekend of the month, and that is July 25th. And we have the Fantastic Four First Steps. And I'll let you take that away, Chad.
Oh yeah. I'm super excited for this. Just seeing the trailers and the cast that's attached to it. We haven't had much luck with Fantastic Four movies lately. They just kind of tried to reboot and ended up with what they did, and now we get an opportunity to get Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joe Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Ebon Moss from the Chef show. What is that? I forget what it is.
The Bear.
But the Bear, Ben Grimm. So and then it's a whole. We got Julia Garner in there, and then saw Natasha Lyonne, and even though it doesn't put her credits in there yet, I'm assuming I know who she is based on seeing her character, that she voiced in the What If series for on Disney Plus. But anyways, and introducing Galactus and then having Julie Gardner play Silver Surfer, I love the tone of the trailer. It's very nostalgic, old school, just like news footage looking to it. I mean, I just love that they're putting it in the era that they're doing instead of trying to do a modern version of it, and then we're just going to get to kind of grow with these characters. I hope with some movies, and they might do this more. Marvel do some prequel-y kind of stuff, because we're finding that movies that we're making now, you can't really go much further with them. So by introducing them back in the 50s, 60s, and then letting us see them through the decades, I think is a pretty cool idea. Yeah. It's a good way to throw a little bit of life into these. And I know Wonder Woman did 1984, and it kind of flopped, but I love seeing the 80s. As a child of the 80s and the 90s, it was cool to see that, and then just see what they're going to do with the introduction of Galactus and how do these folks get their powers. And we kind of know that, but get to see a new adaptation of it is going to be really fun, and I think it looks great. And John Malkovich, I saw, he's going to pop in there as well. And I think we've kind of heard who he was going to be in it, but I think they're trying to keep that a little bit on the hush hush. But we're all familiar with Fantastic Four. It's a kind of a new telling of it. I call it Fantastic Four First Steps. We're going to see, the development from just a different group of folks, and I'm actually super excited for this one. I've got it on my list of the top 5 I want to see for the summer, and I definitely want to drag the family to it and check it out, because I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, this is just the information before the trailer came out. Matt Shatman coming into it, they did WandaVision. I love that series, so I was very excited to see that he was attached to do this, and I really I was the details and the love and the care and all that stuff they've done to the old sitcom TV shows from the 50s and 60s and things like that they did with WandaVision. I thought was so much heart and stuff was put into that. So to have him attached to it, I was just I feel like we're going to get that same kind of heart, and it's exactly what we got, it seems like, in the trailer as well. I love visually how they look, and I think they look fantastic, if no pun intended. Yeah. But I think the costumes look awesome. I don't care how cheesy it looks. I love it. I'm it fits that time period so well. Also at the same time, just don't be afraid to do comic books costumes. Just do it. It's just we've seen it, I think Marvel here recently has leaned it more into that. There is some head scratchers like Taskmaster and things like that. You scratch your head why? Anyways, but it just the costume design, just go for it, man. It's look at Wolverine, look at freaking Deadpool, look at freaking Mysterio looked awesome. It's just Doctor Strange looks awesome. It just go for one visual adaptations of the comic book characters. It just they look so good, and I love the costume. I think Vanessa Kirby's going to kill it as the Invisible Woman. Sue Storm, and then you have Joseph Quinn. I'm still not sold on Joseph Quinn just yet, because we haven't got anything from him dialogue wise. All he's done is just take his helmet off and been hey, and that's all he said, and we've got some flying shots. So we'll see if that cockiness and that overconfident and things like that will come into play. We'll see. And then there's Ebony Moss and the motion capture on the Thing. I think Ben Grimm, the Thing, looks fantastic, and I think he looks freaking awesome. I love everything about his design and stuff like that, and I love that they kept him short. They didn't Hulk him up or nothing like that. I just he's a regular sized dude. He just made of rocks, and I just I love what they did with it. I think he looks great. I think in the trailer when he's sitting there hanging out with Kirby, and he's let me taste they were sitting there making cooking dinner or something like that. Let me taste this. Yeah. He's all right. And then I love when he claps his hand together. It sounds like stones clacking together. So just I'm loving everything visually and all that stuff. I think it looks awesome, and I think it's gonna be. I think it's going to open up, and we're going to have the Fantastic Four. We're not going to get like an origins. We're going to get sprinkles of their origins and what happened to them and all that stuff, I'm sure, throughout the film. But I think they're going to be an established team already. Like, they've probably been around for a couple of years in the 60s in this world, and they're just like, they're basically the Avengers of the 60s. Like, they're the big team.
It makes sense. They couldn't go up against Galactus as just like, hey, we just got our powers. Let's go fight Galactus. So I think you're probably right on that. I think even the rest of like the society knows of their existence, and that they're aware that there's these super beings, and that so when the crap hits the fan, that's when they go to them. So I think you're probably spot on.
Yeah, I just like I said, I'm still not sold. I love Pedro Pascal. I do. He was not my first pick for Mr. Fantastic. I hope he shuts my mouth. I do. I really do. But it kind of just feels like recency casting. Like, oh, he's the hot actor at the time. Let's get him in there. All that stuff.
Yep.
The other three feel pretty organic, if that makes sense, and maybe not Johnny Storm, because I know Joseph Quinn with his Stranger Things star, but I think Joseph Quinn has done a fantastic job showing a bunch of rage. I know he's in a Quiet Place. I know he's in that new Warfare movie. I just think I don't think he was just Stranger Things stardom. I think the dude does have awesome range and stuff like that. And then,
he does, yeah, definitely. I agree.
So we'll see what happens and stuff. But no, I'm really excited about it. I know you hinted at it a little bit more. I know my buddy Jake down at the comic shop was talking about like John Malkovich is in this film with his crazy long hair. Like, could he be a Reed Richards from another timeline? And also, by the title of the movie being called First Steps, is the big rumor is that Vanessa Kirby's Sue Storm is pregnant in this. So we'll see what happens. And then I think it would be crazy. What if John Malkovich is their son from the future? So
that'd be awesome.
It'd be a crazy twist or something like that. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, I know there's connections in the comic books that the Reed bloodline has connections to Kang the Conqueror, but obviously they're moving away from that. So we'll see if that has anything to do with their baby. And of course we have, I hate saying it out loud, but we have Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom. So we will see what happens with that. And will we get a Doctor Doom that's in this universe that isn't Robert Downey Jr.? Who knows? I know Galactus is supposed to be in this, Silver Surfer. And I love it that it's in the 60s because you do one of two things. I think you basically just bring a new breath of fresh air, placing this in the 60s with the Fantastic Four, something fresh and different for the comic book universe. And then also, I think it's very contained, basically storyline wise. You don't have to connect and be like, hey, here's Doctor Strange, hey, you remember the event over here, hey, you remember, you don't have to have all these things. It can be a separate contained story on its own. And that's what I think more of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe needs to do contained stories and then just build off that when you do team up movies and things like that. So we spent a while on that, but Fantastic Four comes out that, and that'll finish up our July month, and then now we're going into August. We have first is the August 1st weekend. We have The Bad Guys 2, Beneath the Storm, The Naked Gun new adaptation, and then this is the movie I wanted to highlight real quick is called Together. The reason why I wanted to highlight this one is this is a new horror film. I know there's a teaser trailer out there for it right now that really doesn't give much away. I was trying to see if it has a synopsis for it, but I don't think it does. But this is a new horror film from Michael Shanks, who that stars Dave. Is it Dave Franco? I always get the Francos mixed up.
It is. It's Dave Franco, the younger Franco.
Yeah, and then Dave Franco and Allison Brie, who are actually husband and wife in real life. A love story. Really, the only hints that I've got about it, they come to a house, they move into a new house, and a bunch of freaky stuff starts happening. So it doesn't seem like it's supernatural, but it's. I've heard from movie buddies that have actually seen this film, because I think it had the film festival. Which one was it? Sundance. It was Sundance Film Festival back in January, and I've had a couple of movie buddies that actually have seen this, and they said it's insane. That's the reason why I had to put it on here, because I've heard nothing but fantastic things. Not just like good. They're just like, holy crap! It's like you have no idea what you're in for. And I was just like, really? They're like, go into it completely blind, and I was just like, okay, all right. And then they're like words like bonkers, and it's a new adaptation, a breath of fresh air into the horror genre, and I was just like, really? So,
wow, that's saying a lot.
yeah. So, yeah, it looks interesting in the trailers. I know the teaser or whatever. It's like, Dave Franco's like got his head pressed up against the tile against the wall in the shower, and it starts cracking.
It's breaking. Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, and then the final shot of the teaser trailer is there are two eyeballs, their faces like next to each other, and it looks like the two eyeballs are fusing together. So we getting some John Carpenter's body horror fusing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Like maybe. Yeah, maybe.
So no, I just want to put this on everybody's radar because I've heard nothing but fantastic things about this, and I've heard it's probably going to be the WTF film of the year. So I'm just I'm really excited about it. But Chad, your thoughts?
Yeah, I watched the trailer, and that was it exactly. I love Allison Brie and Dave Franco. Them being husband and wife. Being in this, you can see it just in the little bit of the trailer that you see. That they are, they're together, and them playing this couple is awesome. And I actually did find a little synopsis. I think they're maybe on Google, but it just says a couple's move to the countryside triggers an incident that drastically alters their relationship existence and physical form. So we are definitely going to see some body horror kind of stuff going on. And there's a little bit in the trailer where Allison Brie is like all like contorted, like bent over backwards, kind of like yoga posing stuff. And it looks crazy. For me, horror is the most horrifying when it's like physical like that, where, especially we watch a lot of like Japanese and Korean, shows and horrors and stuff where, they're just so good at contorting their body that it's just so freaky. And then seeing her like curled around, like bent over, like broken, man, it's so creepy. But I think it looks like a good summer horror kind of thing happening, and I think it's going to do well. I think it's like the Amityville horrors. You think about those with the house, and it's like, kind of in that genre. I think where you go in and it's maybe the house itself is causing the issues, but we'll see. You don't get much from the trailer other than it's going to be disturbing, which is good.
Yeah, and there was also a little freaky shot. It was nothing but the bottom of I think it was Allison Brie, but it was the bottom of her feet, but they were levitated off the ground.
Yeah.
And she was like smacking into the glass on the other side. It was like a very spine-chilling shot. So, and I'm trying to look. Yeah, okay, it was. Okay, so Neon was the one that purchased this in the Sundance Film Festival. So it will be coming from Neon.
Okay.
And I tell you what, man.
Distributing. Yep.
Obviously, that's the reason why I talk about you have your big studios and stuff like that, but the work that Neon and A24, man, just like over the past 5 years, all the stuff that they've been giving out, I'm like, God, thank the movie gods for those studios, because man, films like this, it just like I'm so excited about it. But all right, so moving on to the next film in that weekend, and that will close that weekend out. It's called The Sparrow in the Chimney. I don't know anything about it. It looks like a foreign film and stuff like that, but that's on your radar. And then we go into the August 8th weekend, and we start out with Weapons. The reason why I want to talk about Weapons is this is a movie that actually got pulled from 2026 by Zach Kreger, who just did the crap, what was that movie called? Barbarian. There we go. I don't know.
Barbarian, yeah.
I almost called the Barbarian. I'm like, that's not right. So anyways, he did the movie The Barbarian, which I think is a very underrated, very fresh and unique and original horror movie I've seen. And then Zach Kreger is known from old Comedy Central TV show I used to watch all the time. It was called The Whitest Kids You Know. And to see him come into the horror genre, it's awesome to see. And this movie has a synopsis of a interrelated multi-story horror epic about the disappearance of high school students in a small town. So, the reason why I want to bring up Weapons is because not only is the studio, which I think this is made by Warner Brothers, but I'll look that up in a second. But the studio loved this film so much that they took it and pushed it to us not only to 2025, but they pushed it into a summer release and all that stuff. So I've heard the studio is very happy with this. I'm really excited because I think Zach Kreger is a great future filmmaker that we need to keep our eye on, because I think Barbarian was fantastic, and what I keep hearing about Weapons, it seems like he's continuing that, and then also he's doing an adaptation that he said it's going to be more faithful to the games and more faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil. So he's doing the next Resident Evil film. So,
nice.
No, focusing on Weapons, the movie stars Josh Brolin, Julia Gardner, Austin Abrams, and then Alden Ehrenreich. I forget how you say his name, but the dude from he played Han Solo, but also recently he was in the Oppenheimer film where he's like grilling into Robert Downey Jr. and stuff like that. I think Alden, man, that dude is so underrated. He is so good. I want to see him in more stuff, but I'm excited to see this cast and stuff. But yeah, I'm really excited about this movie, not just from the studio confidence and stuff like that, but it's an original horror film from Zach Kreger, and I want to support original films, but I want to put Weapons on people's radar. But your thoughts, Chad?
Yeah, I couldn't find much about it. There aren't any like real trailers or anything on that I could find, other than just some information about them. The cast obviously is awesome. We see Julie Garner again and Josh Brolin. So I'm just going to go with your enthusiasm for it and say, yep, everyone should definitely check it out. I mean, the idea of this, small town horror, high school students disappearing thing, I think is terrifying enough, especially with the, a high school age kid, so it's enough to keep you on edge. But throw in, a really stellar cast, and then Zach Kreger directing, I think it could be a fun summer. Hopefully, a sleeper that, blows up and, gets them a lot of recognition, because it seems like it has all the fixings to do so. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's and they said it was like a horror action film, so I'm just like, that's gonna be interesting, because it says it was written and directed by Zach Kreger. So
geez.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's in that little brain of his and bringing it on screen. So. But no, going on, continuing on that August 8th weekend, we have Freakier Friday, which will be the sequel to Freaky Friday, with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis coming back to surprise their roles. I know a lot of people enjoy that first film, so I wanted to talk about that. And then August 15th weekend, we have Nobody 2, and I'll let you take this away, Chad.
Wow, that's nice. I mean, that's a summer movie I'm definitely looking forward to. I loved Nobody. We all love Bob Odenkirk. He just seems like just the coolest dude. And after Nobody, and of course Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and everything that he does, we just love Bob and hope for the best and the continued success of this franchise. I'd like to at least get another Nobody out of it. I hope they do a trilogy with it. But Bob plays an everyday man with the family, and come to find out he was an assassin. Which we've all heard we've heard this plot line a lot lately. It comes up quite a bit, but Nobody was such a nice, refreshing take on it, because he's so unassuming. He's in his late 50s, and he just comes out of nowhere and boom, and he killed it. And we know he spent months training, and he actually had some medical issues. I think maybe because of the training, which he had some heart issues, and
he came
back strong.
Yeah, he had a heart attack on the set of Better Call Saul.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, so but then with him on here, you've seen behind the scenes of him training and stuff like that. I mean, this dude, he just he goes for it. He's going all out, knowing that he had a heart attack and doesn't care, and he's putting this out for everybody to see. And it's just an extension of the other nobody. And at least from the synopsis, it sounds like we might find out a little bit more about his wife, Rebecca, who's played by Connie Nielsen. But I don't know much more than that. I couldn't find any trailers, just some information. But it looks like most of the cast is back, plus some new players, including Sharon Stone and Colin Hanks. But I'm definitely excited for it. I would want to see this one in the theater and enjoy the spectacle I'm assuming it's going to be. So we get Christopher Lloyd back too, so anything with Christopher is awesome. So.
Yep. Oh no. Yeah, and you brought up too. It's like Sharon Stone coming to this. I've heard she's the villain of the film as well.
Oh,
so,
dang.
So
nice.
Pretty cool. But no, I really enjoyed Nobody too. Like I said, it's Chad already got to it too. It's like, once again, it's not a Shakespeare story. It's pretty cut and dry. But no, it was really cool because Bob and I've had this discussion as well and all that stuff. It's like a lot of people ask me, it's like, would you have been interested in Nobody if Bob Odenkirk wasn't in the film? And I was just like, I would have still been interested in the film and eventually watched it, but it was the grabbing factor that Bob Odenkirk was in an action film like this. And then it's the stunts and everything's done by 87 North, which is they've done like the John Wick films and things like that. So to hear their crew was attached to it, I was just like, I'm like, it was so exciting. And then the really exciting part about the sequel, I was really excited about it, but I kind of amped up even more when I found out that oh crap, I just lost his name. It was Timo, and hopefully I don't Tanato. Timo Tanato, I'm going to say that's how you say it, but Timo Tanato coming to direct this. He did a film on Netflix that's called The Night Comes For Us with the crew from The Raid, and it's so good. The action is phenomenal. So to hear that he's on this as a action director and stuff like that, just like it's very exciting. And then of course Bob Odenkirk coming back, Christopher Lloyd, Connie Nielsen, blah blah blah. Just like it's just exciting overall. And like I said, if the entertainment factor is there, and obviously Bob Odenkirk being Bob Odenkirk and stuff like that, I was like, I hope they make like 10 of these if they're awesome. So, but no, I was really happy to see Bob Odenkirk back and healthy and stuff like that, because the big scare of him having his heart attack on Better Call Saul, I was just like, oh no. It's just like, and then I heard that they were going to do Nobody too, and just like from a health standpoint, you're just like, oh man, I hope that dude's careful and all that stuff. But it looks like they made it through production and stuff like that. So it was good to see him back and healthy and being Bob Odenkirk. So
yeah, definitely.
But all right, moving on from that, and staying on that same weekend, we have a movie called Clicker that comes out, and that'll close out that weekend. And then going to August 22nd weekend, we have Americana, and then we have Relay, and then we have Shelby Oaks. The reason why this just coming from me real quick, Chad, Shelby Oaks, I'm really looking forward to that because that is the film made by Chris Stuckman. And if anybody knows Chris Stuckman as famously for his, he's a movie reviewer. And this is a movie that he wrote and directed. Shot, I believe, like a documentary type horror film. So
nice.
I'm really excited about this. And it's got Keith David in it, and then Michael Beach and all that stuff. It just like I'm looking very forward to this because Chris Stuckman's making it and stuff like that. So it's really cool to see a movie reviewer, famous movie reviewer and all that stuff. And Chris Stuckman seems like a really cool dude. And this is awesome. So but I want to put Shelby Oaks on everybody's radar, and then we have we're going into the August 29th. August 29th, which will be the final weekend of August, and we have Caught Stealing. The reason why I wanted to talk about Caught Stealing was because this is the new Darren Aronofsky film, who's known for like Black Swan. I'm drawing a blank. Black Swan. He's been all kinds of crap. But anyways, was a Mother, and then what was the most
psychological kind of thrillers and stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah, and. see here. Yeah, he's in Pi, Requiem of a Dream. He wrote that. That's what I was thinking of. And then the Foundation, and then of course The Wrestler. He was a producer on and all that stuff. So, but his new film, I'm really excited to check out. The cast is ridiculous, and stars Austin Butler. Man, my cursor keeps jumping. Anyways, it stars Austin Butler, Vincent D'Onofrio, Zoe Kravitz, Liev Schreiber, Matt Smith, Regina King, Bad Bunny. It's just like the list keeps going on and on. It just like Darren Aronofsky seems like one of those films that a lot of actors want to work with, so it's really cool to see that. So I'm very excited to check this out, and from the set photos and everything else, it looks crazy. It says a burnout ex-baseball player, Hank Thompson, unexpectedly finds himself embroiled in a dangerous struggle for survival amidst the criminal underbelly of the 1990s New York City, forced to navigate a treacherous underworld he never imagined. So awesome. Very into concept. But no, a new Darren Aronofsky film I have to put on people's radar, of course. And then, did you, Chad, you got any thoughts on that?
No, just I love the idea of the New York City of the 1990s. You know, it's just such a cool, and I'm assuming this has to do with baseball at the time, because I know this is a baseball movie in the end. But, you know, baseball of the 1990s, you know, it was, you know, rumored had it that, you know, people were throwing games and there was a lot of drug use, and not just like performance-enhancing drugs, but like, you know, cocaine and stuff like while they're playing. I mean, it's just such a cool idea that they would look into kind of what was happening in the 90s in baseball in New York City. Look up like Dwight Gooden, kind of what happened with his career and things that happened in New York at the time with him. I mean, it's very cool. I mean, that you take this little nugget of an idea and flush it out to this with this cast. You know, it's Vincent D'Onofrio and Austin Butler, like you mentioned before, and I think it definitely has potential to be a really good summery, sporty movie. But any time that they could take a look back, you know, in the 80s and 90s, I love that stuff. But it sounds very cool.
All right, and then that same weekend we have The Roses, and then we have Stranger Eyes, and then the final film for that weekend, and the final focus film, and the final film of the summer movie season, we have the Toxic Avenger remake. I'm really excited about this because the Toxic Avenger is like just a crazy movie. So to see a remake of it and stuff like that, but also the story behind this film is just like, it had great screenings. It had great screenings. It had great critical reception, but it just sat on the shelf for 2 years. It's like nobody was putting funding or anything behind it. So it finally got picked up, and it's getting an August release. So I'm happy to see that. I know the cast looks awesome. Is Peter Dinklage, who's playing Toxie, and then you got Jacob Tremblay, you got Taylor Page, Julia Davis, Johnny Coy, Elijah Wood, and Kevin Bacon all in this. So I'm really excited. They released like a 1-minute trailer. And it looks nuts, and Peter Dinklage looks nuts, and I can't wait. I like the practical makeup and the suit and everything they put on Peter Dinklage. It looks awesome. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and it's a cool way to close out the summer too. So, directed by Mac and Blair. So, Chad.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it is of all the things made from that era to remake and to do the Toxic Avenger. It's unbelievable. It's great. I mean, it's the fact that they can put some decent funding behind it, because you can watch it right now, I think, for free on Amazon Prime, the original Toxic Avenger, maybe even the first two. So if you haven't done that, definitely check it out. And then famously, like Lloyd Kaufman from Troma Films, he did the original Toxic Avenger. And he is on as a producer for this. Of course, he would be, but I hope that means that, there's more like love put into it. And from what we've seen so far, like the visuals and the trailer and stuff for it, it looks like it really is. Peter Dinklage, I'm assuming he wouldn't get involved with something like this if he didn't feel like it was, worth his time to do it. I mean, dude doesn't need to work or anything like that. So if he's doing a movie like Toxic Avenger, then there's got to be a reason behind it. And I think it looks like just a blast to go and have a good time watching all the insanity that's going to come out of this thing. So a great finale movie for the summer, and hopefully it's a good homage to what we saw with the original Toxic Avenger, which is just unhinged and insane. So fingers crossed. But hopefully we'll see some more trailers coming up soon too, and get a better feel for it. But I think it's definitely a must watch for the summer, for horror fans or anybody who just likes a good time, because I think that's what it's going to be. You've said a couple times today, it's not Shakespeare, and it's definitely not, but it's going to be fun, and I think people are really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, it says it had been in release limbo ever since, apparently unreleasable due to its gore and graphic content. I'm just like,
how's that possible?
Exactly. I'm like, well, how? I'm like, we got.
I've seen some bad stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, you got freaking the human centipede out there, but you're telling me this is more graphic? I'm like, come on, man. They're just like, it's nuts too, because like I said, it's really well received. It's got great reviews, and it's just odd. I get if you shelve a film because you're like, this is just unreleasable because how bad it is, but yeah. I don't know. But I'm just so glad it's getting released and stuff like that, because the last couple of years I've been trying to keep my tabs on it because I kept hearing about it, and I seen the photos, and Elijah Wood looks freaking crazy. Kevin Bacon looks crazy in this, and then Peter Dinklage and all that stuff. So I just I was like, why aren't they releasing this? So I don't know. I thought maybe, which it's not, but I thought there was like maybe something. Did the director come out to be a human trafficker? I don't know what it is, but that's not the case at all with this. But I'm just saying, like, did something happen behind the scenes where they were just like, we can't release it because XYZ? Because I know the Jonathan Majors drama and stuff like that for the last couple of years. That's why they shelved that magazine Dreams, and they finally released that this year. So I was like, it's just literally because the violence and all that stuff that was unreleasable. I'm like, that's so dumb. So it's like, you have a film made and it's done. Just release it. I just don't get it. And like, if it's a horrible piece of crap, it's like, I don't want the public to ever see this, but it's not. So it's a very, very strange story, but also in the end, I'm very happy it's getting released finally. So.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't get that either. I mean, I know there's costs involved once you have the movie made and getting it out to theaters and all that stuff. But dang, any possibility to recover at least a little bit of what you put into it, I mean, it's got to be worth it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and you tell someone Toxic Avenger is going to be playing at the movie theater. I mean, at least folks in my age bracket, they're like, "Oh, well, who's in it?" You're like, "Oh, Peter Dinklage." You start rattling them off. They're just like, "Well, what the heck? Why haven't I heard about this thing? I want to go see that." And then boom, it's a big hit. So it's crazy. Yeah,
that's why I didn't understand with a couple years ago when Netflix, they gave the pushback of like they released Glass Onion for a week in theaters, and that movie made $33 million and
in a week.
Wow. And it's just like and then Netflix was complained about it. He's like, we only made $33 million. I'm like, you were going to release it on Netflix. It's just like, that's $33 million you didn't have before. It's just like, I don't get that. Same thing with Martin Scorsese, as everybody was giving poo-pooing on the what was it, the Killers of the Flower Moon, is they finally said they were going to give it a theatrical release, and they were just like, well, that movie bombed at the box office. It only made, I think it was like, I want to say like 60 million or something like that total. And I'm like, it's an Apple original. That's $60 million they would have definitely not had. And then they were like, well, it was a $200 million budget. And I'm just like, once again, $200 million that would have been wasted just releasing on Apple. I'm like, at least they got some kind of profit. So, well, not profit, but it's some kind of return, not profit.
Not a killer return, but at least something that they wouldn't have had otherwise. It seems like a no-brainer. I mean, I don't know who's running these studios where they're just like, I don't know. We don't want $30 million. We don't want $60 million.
Yeah, they just flushing $200 million down the drain or 140. So you let me know. So it's just like, it's crazy.
It seems like a no-brainer. It does.
Sorry. All right. Well, that little rant out of the way. That'll do it for the summer movie season. These are just films we wanted to put on your guys' radar and keep a lookout for. And then finally, we just wanted to do something for both of us. We wanted to say, so out of all the films releasing this summer, what is your top five most exciting films you're looking forward to, Chad?
Okay, my top five is number 5, Thunderbolts. Number 4, The Fantastic Four, First Steps. Number 3, How to Train Your Dragon, the live action. 2 is Nobody 2. And then my number 1 most anticipated is The Phoenician Scheme, Wes Anderson's latest and greatest, because I love me a Wes Anderson movie.
Sweet. And then my top 5 most anticipated for this summer season in 2025 is at number 5. I have Fantastic Four: First Steps. Like I said, visually how it looks. I love. I lost his Matt Shackman coming in to do this. I'm looking forward to this very much. Taking place in the 60s. Number 4, I have Zach Cregger's Weapons. Obviously, I just gave my love about how they pulled this film from 2026 to 2025, putting in a summer release, the confidence from the studio, and also I really enjoyed Barbarian, so I think Zach Cregger is definitely an upcoming, very fast and upcoming director that we need to keep a lookout for, especially in the horror genre. At number 3, I have the live-action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon. Having Dean Du Bois back for this, to directing it, I'm so excited. And people that know me know how much I love the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy and how much that property means to me. So to see the live action, how visually gorgeous it looks, I'm very excited. And then number 2, I had Christopher McQuarrie's Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Supposedly the final outing of Tom Cruise. In the Mission Impossible franchise. Like I said, it's been going on for 30 years now, and a franchise I think gets better with every single film, and I'm so looking forward to Final Reckoning, just from an action standpoint, just to sit in an IMAX theater to witness that crazy stuff is going to be awesome. And then, of course, at number 1, no surprise, nobody will know, is going to be Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later. Literally a film almost 28 years in the making, a sequel, and I can't wait for this, and also knowing that it's going to be a new trilogy. Very exciting. I love Danny Boyle as a filmmaker, and how he's using the iPhone for this film, and then Alex Garland coming back to do the script of the trilogy and stuff like that. So it has all the recipes to be epic, and how much 28 Days means to me. I'm very looking forward to 28 Years Later, so that's why it's a number 1. So, but all right, guys. First off, thank you, Chad, for doing this. Thank you so much. This is always fun with you, man.
My pleasure.
But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, we wanted to put once again, I sound like a broken record, but we wanted to put films out there, not only that we're excited for, but also to put films on your radar from the summer season. I know this is a time of the year, and the summer season is always exciting for film fans or just normies in general. Is, you go out to the theater with a family. It's summertime, you're enjoying it, and what better way to do the cinematic screen as well. So that's really exciting. But we appreciate you guys listening to this. Make sure you give this video some love, thumbs up, like, make sure you share it, make sure you subscribe to the Movie Nerd James YouTube channel, and then follow me for more active content on my Instagram at the same name, at Movie Nerd James. And once again, thank you to Chad. And guys, I hope you take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we'll see you later.